Break out your LaCroix, ladies and gentlemen, as Matt and I give you our best of 2018. So stay tuned. Welcome to The Real Review, sponsored by Parametric and Lazy Ape Studios, where you get some of the latest happenings, real thoughts, and perspectives in the world of film and television. I'm here with Matt, never going to give you up, never going to let you down. Hey.
Oh, man.
I am giving you that because this is our best of 2018, so I feel like I had to go positive.
Yeah, okay, I like that. Well, yeah,
Am I?
Today, Joel, in honor of listing our top 10 of the year,
yes.
You are, Joel, actually only liked like 3 movies this year, Cunningham.
How true is that? Yeah. A funny story before we get into this. We've got a lot to cover, but Matt and I were putting these together, and we always like to do them separately just to see how things will turn out for us. Yeah. And Matt was like, I'm having such a hard time coming up with my worst of list. And I'm like, true. I'm done. Yeah. I'm totally done. And then he's like, man, but I got so many best of. And I'm like, I'm struggling. I don't know which goes where. So
that shows you the difference of our film going.
It absolutely does.
Reviews and all that fun stuff.
Well, and for those of you that are turning in for the first time, I know top 10s tend to bring in a lot of people that have never seen shows and stuff before, but just to give you a little perspective, Matt tends to be a little bit more of the fan perspective, kind of the fun and the enjoyment of cinema, where I tend to be more of the critic perspective, kind of the harsh realist, if you will, and break things down more on the realist side of things. But we put that together to give you what we think is a real thought and perspective in the world of film and cinema. You get the two sides.
Yeah.
So whoever you like, whatever you pick, you can just kind of listen to that person talk.
Absolutely.
Matt, before we get into our top 10 of 2018, why don't you give our listeners just a couple quick ways to get connected to the podcast?
Great thing to know, guys.
Yes.
All right, so you can get connected with us a number of different ways. One is through social media. In fact, you can actually start on our website, which is realreviewmedia.com. That's real spelled like REEL, like movie reel, fishing reel, however you want to think of that. But you can connect to all of our platforms from that site. So social media, which would be Facebook, Instagram, Twitter at Real Review Media, and youtube.com/The Real Review, where you can get the video versions of this podcast if you would rather see us in person on the video. You know,
sometimes.
That kind of thing.
At least Matt. I wouldn't say that for me.
Yeah, right.
Keep listening to the podcast. Just kidding.
Exactly. So that's how you can do that. You can also email us at realreviewmedia@gmail.com to ask us questions. Maybe there's a movie or a strong disagreement or agreement that you had with us that you'd like to tell us about. Feel free to do so.
There you go. So we'll get right into it.
Yeah.
I wanted to say just a quick disclaimer as we're getting into this now. Matt and I tend to grade things differently, but with these top 10s and worst of, we're going to be doing our worst of in the next episode. We really try to not base it just upon sort of the letter grade that we give with every episode. We really try to review our top 10 and worst 10 as kind of the films that we overall got the most out of or the least out of.
Right, exactly.
Good and bad side. And so what you'll see if you listen to our standard episode reviews is these don't always line up percentage-wise.
Right,
Some of them might have gotten a super high review rating and are lower down, and vice versa.
Exactly. Like, for example, my number 10 might have had a better score than my number 5 or something like that, but I just happen to enjoy number 5 better.
Exactly.
You know, had more fun or it hit me more emotionally or something.
For sure. And we're going to be just really briefly covering these because we got a lot to get through. Yep. So if you want to get the full review, I definitely encourage you to check out our website, do a search on there for the episode name, the movie name, I should say, and it should pop up.
Yeah, for sure.
To that. We'd love to have you check it out and give your thoughts. So with that, Matt, I'm going to let you lead us off.
Get into it here?
Yeah.
So let me do this. Before I get into the top 10, I want to have a couple of honorable mentions. Do you have some?
I do.
Yeah, okay. Yep. So I'm just going to go through this real quick. They were higher on my grading scale for the year. And let me say, too, 2018 was not as good in my eyes as like a 2017 or 2016 as far as movies are concerned. There weren't as many in the coveted A letter grade spot.
Yeah.
But
ticket sales, interestingly, last year went up.
Right.
But
exactly.
Overall, cinema-wise, I agree. There was only a couple that really broke through.
Yeah.
For me.
Right, exactly. I felt the same. So let me do some honorable mentions because I really enjoyed these movies, but they just couldn't crack my top 10 list. Okay, first I'm going to go with Unsane, which is Steven Soderbergh, the film, which was all filmed on an iPhone.
Yeah.
Claire Foy is trapped in a mental institution against her will, all that fun stuff.
That's interesting. I didn't actually see that one.
Yes.
I have to see that.
I like that. I really thought that was well done. Incredibles 2. That's got an honorable mention. Just couldn't quite crack the list. I don't know if my view of that movie was tainted from the early review we got of that movie that wasn't finished yet or not, but I enjoyed the film. The other one, now this one was really tough for me. This is my last honorable mention, and because I had a blast with this movie, but I couldn't make it
into your top
10. And this,
it was just on the cusp.
This was the cusp. This was almost my number 10, but it's the movie Overlord.
Okay.
Really had fun with that movie. It was super intense. It was just a really cool vibe. Very had like zombies, and it had a bunch of war elements to it that were really, really cool. Very well done.
Yeah,
and I really appreciated it.
That was one I missed as well, but I do want to go back and check it out when I get a chance.
I really liked Overlord. So what do you have for honorable mentions?
I have two. And I will say both of mine are maybe slightly controversial for different reasons. The first is a movie that is controversial because not a lot of people liked it. Tag.
Okay. Yeah.
This movie actually was a surprise hit for me. I wasn't expecting a lot but I felt like a film that was based upon a news story that's such a ridiculous concept of grown men basically playing tag at their age.
It's a good concept.
Yeah, but it also kind of tried to go there. It was inventive and creative stylistically. It had some good acting, not amazing acting. It went a little too far with a lot of areas, and I think that's why it kind of missed the mark for me, and the humor wasn't always on point.
Right.
But it was enjoyable, and I liked it, and I actually ended up seeing it twice.
Nice.
I went and saw it with different people. But the second one, this one is probably the one that's more controversial, is Black Panther.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. This one was on the cusp of being on the top 10 for me. There was just some aspects to it. I really felt like the film was enjoyable, but it didn't leave me with an excitement to see Black Panther and kind of where Black Panther's going.
Right.
With all the other Marvel movies, when I came out of the movies, the main superhero of that film, I was always very excited to be like, okay, well, where is Hulk going? Or, well, they haven't really done a Hulk, but where is Captain America going? Where are they going? Where's the next film going to be happening? With them, it almost felt more of a film about the Black Panther world.
Yeah.
And so that was kind of interesting, but I didn't really leave going like, I want more of that character. Yeah. So good, not amazing film. So
gotcha.
One of my honorable mentions.
Couple other ones real quick. First Man, honorable mention.
Okay.
Game Night.
Okay.
Honorable mention. I loved Game Night. Game Night
I did see Game Night. We might talk about First Man a little later.
Okay.
Let's leave it at that.
Yeah, let's leave it at that.
Yeah, why don't we give our then number 10?
Okay, number 10. This is a really interesting one for me because maybe it just blew me away because I wasn't expecting much. But I'm gonna go. My number 10 spot is Searching.
Oh wow!
I did. I really liked Searching.
Okay.
It all takes place. It's got that concept. It all takes place from basically a desktop computer screen, and all the different elements of it and the way they interweave it with this investigation that's going on, and all the interactions is brilliantly acted. I mean, it's not a huge cast, but it was a surprise to me. It felt like it's the kind of movie that someone made for. They have a passion for good storytelling.
Yeah,
and they told it just from a really unique perspective, and I was on the edge of my seat for a lot of it. It was really good.
So it's kind of a found footage film, but it's kind of like more of a
basically like a live stream movie
on
stuff that you could see you would see whether it's through Skype or YouTube live news clips from stuff, just different websites, and you see all the windows pop up and stuff like that on the screen, the different tabs, the different apps within everything. It was really, really cool.
Cool.
Yeah, I did appreciate it. I had fun. It was a bit of a surprise to me, and yeah, that's it.
All right,
it's my number 10.
That's another one I have to check out.
Yeah,
there's a few people, excuse me, that have actually mentioned that being on their top 10s, and I'm like, I guess I'll have to check it out. There's like a wall that I have to overcome, which is that idea of it being sort of that found footage thing, I guess. Anyway, my number 10 film, which will probably be like, people will be like, huh?
Yeah.
Crazy Rich Asians.
Hey, I didn't see that movie.
So it's directed by John Chu. I don't know too much about him, but this one was really strange to me. I'm not a huge sucker for like the romantic comedies.
Sure.
And so, which sure, Matt. I just love those romantic comedies. No. I went into it really not expecting a lot.
Yeah.
Really thinking it was just going to be stupid. And because this day and age, we don't have much of a romantic comedy type genre going on in film. And I was actually very pleasantly surprised. I think the film being based upon a book helped it a lot because it was very grounded. The characters were very real in a lot of ways. the comedy wasn't hitting very hard for me, and I think that's the main reason it didn't go higher. But the story had heart, and I think that's what really elevated it for me and took it to a place where I'm like, yeah, I would rewatch this. And I actually did end up suggesting it to a few people.
That's good.
And saying, like, if you want kind of a film you can just watch and enjoy with the family and
totally.
not make a big deal out of, check out Crazy Rich Asians. So landed on the top 10 for me. I enjoyed it just a little bit more, unfortunately for some, maybe than Black Panther.
Yeah.
But yeah, overall.
Yeah, super
Number
cool.
10.
That's
So,
awesome.
All right, number 9.
7 and number 9. In fact, it is Black Panther.
Hey!
So
Glad I didn't talk too much about it.
yeah, no, I really like this movie, and I think what it did for me was introduce a number of different characters that I think are gonna last. One of my new favorite characters in the MCU is Shuri from Black Panther, and I really liked her character. And I also this is one of the first ones where Marvel, historically known for not having really strong villains, I felt like had a really good villain this go around. The best one up there with like Thanos, and I think they really smashed it with that. Michael B. Jordan did an amazing job bringing that whole element to it, and really enjoy Black Panther. I'm excited to see where they go from it.
Mr. Monger.
So yeah, exactly. Eric Killmonger.
Yeah.
Yep. So
very cool.
Black Panther. I'm excited what they do with Black Panther 2. I guess we got Ryan Coogler coming back to do the sequel. So that's great news, probably in a couple years. So yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Then I'll give you my number 9.
Do it.
It's a film called Deadpool 2.
Hey.
This film was directed by David Leitch. Direct follow-up to Deadpool 1, and in a lot of ways ties very closely into the first film.
Yeah.
And I really enjoyed the first Deadpool film. It was such a quirky, kind of strange, off-the-wall film in a lot of good ways. Very inventive, very meta, and very self-aware, which I love self-aware humor a lot of the times when done intelligently. And Deadpool can be, when done well, very creative and clever and strange. And when done poorly, very childish.
Right.
And I felt like the first film did a really good job with that creative, clever, over the top, but grounded. This film kind of lended itself a little bit too much at times to that crude, kind of lowest common denominator humor. But there's still like 4 or 5 scenes in the movie that are just really outrageously funny to me and crazy and quirky. So I ended up enjoying it, not as much as the last one, but again, this year there hasn't been a plethora
And this
of
is,
films.
again, just to clarify, this is the original Deadpool 2, not the Once Upon a Deadpool
Correct.
2 that was
which I
released.
have not seen.
The PG-13 version is
Correct.
basically what it is.
Yeah. This one has all the Ryan Gosling.
Ryan Gosling.
Yeah. Or sorry, no. Sorry.
What are you talking about?
I apologize. I didn't mean to say that. The Ryan Reynolds craziness
Yeah.
that you would come to expect from a Deadpool film. Not for kids, not for families,
Nope.
but definitely a fun one if you want to check it out.
Exactly.
Yeah, and I'm excited. It left me excited to see additionally where it expanded the world a little bit of Deadpool, and I'm excited to kind of see where they go with the next Deadpool.
Yeah.
So, yeah, there you go.
Gotcha.
Top 8.
Hoo-hoo. Let's get there. Okay, so this is my 8th film on my list. And it got a higher grade than some of my other ones coming up, but I had to pick an order. And I'm going to go with Creed 2. And I think that there are elements about Creed 2 over Creed 1 that I really, really enjoyed. One, I appreciated the ending more than the previous one because of my stance on just wanting to enjoy a movie and wanting things to happen that are, good.
Yeah.
So I loved Creed 2.
You like positive outcomes, Matt.
Right. Yes,
Yeah.
that's me. That is me. And we'll get to it later on one of the movies that in here that wasn't a great ending. But
Yeah.
The Creed 2, well done. Michael B. Jordan crushed it. I actually really liked the boxing. It did miss Ryan Coogler's flair a little bit, but overall, I think this movie pulled off what a lot of sequels can't do, and that's pull off an actually good sequel. Good sequels are rare, and I think Creed 2 pulled it out. I think it was great. I find Stallone being the best in these really subdued roles, rather than his, Expendables, gig that and shtick that he puts on. I think these are where he needs to be focusing his time, and really, really good. I love the family dynamics, and Michael B. Jordan crushed it again.
Cool.
Yep.
Interestingly enough, top 8 for me, Creed 2.
Hey,
There you go. We
look at
matched up. Not common for us. Similar to you, I think there was a lot of really good elements here at play with the follow-up to the first movie. Where I lost it a bit was I didn't really connect in with the struggle that Michael B. Jordan was going through in this one as much as I did in the first one.
Yeah.
I don't know why. I think the stakes of it just never felt like they were, in a sense, as significant to me as they were in the first film. Like the first film was really about him figuring out who he was.
Right.
In this film, it felt like they were attempting to go with something of a bit of like a revenge plot mixed with who am I really?
Yeah.
Like, do I really identify as this person or is it something else? And then, dealing with that. But it just never really got there.
Right.
But I did enjoy it. I thought it was very well shot, very well acted. As well, Sylvester Stallone in this film, I felt like was just like really nailing it.
Yeah.
His story was at times more interesting to me almost than Adonis's story in this film. But I thought it was a very worthwhile addition to the film. I thought it was well put together, and I am actually looking forward to seeing kind of probably inevitably where they go with the Creed 3 film. And it's kind of sad. Like every film now I'm watching, I'm like, when are they going to kill off Rocky? When are they going to kill off Rocky? It's really sad. But this one had some actual touching moments where it's kind of like, I think that's really cool. And maybe it's just because I was there when the films were like coming out, but like seeing this time period having gone by and like seeing the dark past of Rocky kind of playing into the stories of other people and how that's playing out on screen has just been pretty neat.
Yeah.
So
definitely.
Yeah. So there you go. Top 8.
That's awesome. Man.
There you go. Moving into our next top 7.
Guys, number 7. This is a complete surprise to me. Absolutely shocking surprise to me. Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. Really like this movie. Surprised. It's got the Phil Lord, Chris Miller like flair for comedy, I think.
Yeah.
And they put a ton of comedy. You almost can't get it all in one viewing. And it's on top of the comedy and I thought the story was actually really good. I thought it had a lot of emotion to it. I kind of was on board with Miles Morales' like his story, kind of where all that came from. Again, super funny. But one thing that was probably one of the highlights in this movie is, and I didn't know this till after they created a specific new visual aesthetic for this movie. It was brand new, like the way that they make it look like a comic book.
Yeah.
That whatever that animation style is, really, really cool. Very impressive. I really enjoyed it. The voice talents of also is Jake Johnson. Yeah. And he's great.
He did a great Peter Parker.
Yes. It was very, very good. I appreciated the story. Really enjoyed it. Had a lot more fun with it than I did. I think, again, I went in with super low expectations. I didn't really want to see this movie, to be honest with you. And then I went to see it, and I was like, wow, this is great. I had fun. Yeah. It was good. It was good. So Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse.
All right. Thank you, Matt.
Yeah.
My top 7, a film that you didn't quite like as much, First Man.
Okay. Yeah. Don't get me wrong. I liked First Man.
Right.
I really
liked
First Man.
As much.
It probably tied for Searching.
I understand.
But I couldn't put it there.
The reason I ranked it as high as I did, and honestly, I'm just a sucker for good cinematography.
Oh, yeah.
And this film has some amazing shots.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, they definitely kind of get you a little dizzy.
Yeah.
But it felt like that was almost purposeful.
Yeah.
Because they're really trying to get you into, I mean, there's so many like single point like the perspective of the astronaut sitting in the chair and kind of what they would experience and go through, and it felt like that was purposefully done.
Yep.
And there's just so many creative shots and really moving ways that they put shots together. They composited the shots and had the cameras moving. The story was good and interesting, and we talked about this as well during the actual, you can go back and listen to it, review. I'm a space junkie in a sense. I love talking about space, and I used to want to be an astronaut and stuff. And so it was just really cool to see this story presented from a different way, from more of a human perspective. Yeah. And so I just really enjoyed it. I think the negatives of it were also with the fact that they were presenting it as a human story, and so it tiptoed really. They got so far away from the event itself that it became more of just like this one person's perspective, and it was just kind of oversimplified.
It was really good. Let me chime in on that too real quick, because First Man was getting a lot of hate at the beginning, and it's undeserved. This movie is incredibly patriotic, but I think it's more of Neil's story. It's not supposed to be about it is about USA's mission to the moon, and you see the flag, people. It's planted, and there's America stuff everywhere in the movie.
Yeah.
But it's really about Neil, and it was done beautifully. So,
yeah. I was on board to just find out more about his story.
Yeah,
and if you approach it from it's just his Neil story going into this film, then you'll be happy.
Absolutely.
With it. So awesome. Let's move in then to top 6. What's our number 6 here, man?
This 6. Okay, so from 6 on is where I get really, really. It was really tough to arrange these because they're all so close.
Yeah,
they're all so close. Number 6 is Upgrade.
Okay.
Loved Upgrade. Upgrade was awesome. Upgrade is what Venom should have been.
Yeah.
And Venom wasn't, guys.
No.
But Upgrade was amazing. So here's my thing with Upgrade. And I will say this too because director and writer Lee Whannell, who also helped do Saw, by the way, he did a magnificent job of this, but he also responded to us on Twitter, and so I thought that was super cool.
That was cool.
But he did a great job directing this. Logan Marshall Green, and I feel bad for the guy because people were like, "How come that looks like Tom Hardy?" But it's not Tom Hardy, you know.
That was unfortunate for him because it absolutely had that. Yeah.
Right, and people were calling him, a poor man's Tom Hardy, and I'm not. He's great. I thought he was magnificent. I thought Tom Hardy did a great job. I think Logan Marshall Green did just as much of an amazing job as his position of being conflicted with something else controlling his body, talking to him in his mind.
Yeah.
This movie is incredibly brutal and violent. Wouldn't recommend it for families, but it was really, really well done. Got some real serious Ex Machina vibes, which is probably one of the better movies of 2015, I think is when it came out.
Yeah.
And just extremely well done. Very enjoyable. Had a twist. I'm not as good at seeing twists as other people, but I didn't see the twist coming, and I was like, "Oh wow!" And so I really liked it. Very enjoyable film. Kind of it does have maybe a downer. Depends on your perspective. Kind of an ending.
Yeah.
But I did appreciate it. And I liked it a lot. So yeah, Upgrade.
All right. Well, thank you, Matt. I'm gonna go with my top 6. One you talked about, Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse.
Sweet.
I think I'm the reason this is probably higher for me is I'm a huge fan of Spider-Man.
Yeah.
And we've talked about that. He's probably my favorite superhero, like if I had to pick one, if my back was against the wall. And there was just so much fun with this film. It was frenetic and crazy, but it told a good story and it told really interesting, it made everything make sense in such a weird way. Because it didn't make sense, because it was very comic booky and very otherworldly, but everything fit and everything. And there's certain rules to cinema, and it was interesting because it was like I can watch the film and I can see the rules of cinema at play and how they're being followed and how it works out wisely.
Right.
If you follow certain reasons for why things have to happen and the way scenes move and the way that beats need to happen in a film, it makes it work. And when it's not followed, this film could have gone. In so many ways, it could have gone in so many bad directions.
Oh, for sure.
But it really felt like the vision of a strong story coming together and creating something that was really cool, really fun, and visually as well with the cinematography, just interesting.
Yeah.
And I haven't had a chance to go back and rewatch it yet, but we talked about this in the review. I'm really looking forward to doing that because I feel like there's going to be so many little like Easter egg type things, even in the background or with different reactions of characters. And then additionally, there was just a really touching... I don't even know if you could say that it was done on purpose, but I can't think of his name, the comic book guy. Crap.
Stan Lee?
Stan Lee, yeah. There's a really touching tribute in a sense.
Yeah.
And one of the last films that I think he was a part of before passing.
Yeah.
And it was just such a touching way to kind of send him off in the film. And I really enjoyed it. I think the film was a bit too frenetic at times for me, and I think because of the overall amounts of story they were trying to tell, it kind of lost a sense of... tension at times, but it was still a really good film. Yeah. And one I'm proud to say is my number 6.
That's awesome.
In our top 10. So, moving on.
Yep.
Matt,
I agree with you.
Top 5. We're getting there.
I agree with everything you said about that, by the way. Yep.
Thank you.
Top 5. Here we go. The next one is going to be Mission Impossible Fallout. Let me say, there's a lot of things to behold in this movie, and I think as far as sequels are concerned, to have them be as consistent as they have been is a triumph.
Yeah.
there is one of the best like tracking shots with following Tom Cruise as he's doing his trademark run across like cities.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's really incredible. There's some really incredible cinematography in this movie, and it was very enjoyable. There's times in the movie that they did something that I had alluded to when we reviewed the movie that I really loved. I was like, that's a callback to the first Mission Impossible. I was like, yes.
Yeah.
Because I will say this is, in my opinion, out of the latter half of the 6 movies, the 6 Mission Impossible movies, so the last 3, this might be my favorite one. In the first half, I do really enjoy the first one, but really like the third one. But this one just did an amazing job. Tom Cruise still has it. Great, amazing, dangling off helicopters, going through mountains and missiles and things are blowing up. I felt like I got some emotional closure on some stuff that I didn't feel any closure on with his wife.
Yeah.
And I feel like I got that. I'm the emotional guy when it comes between us. Like everything I have to have emotional closure on a lot of things. And I felt like I got that. And it was a blast at the movies. I saw this movie. I saw half of it one time and then another. I can't remember what happened. We had a baby basically, and I had to run to the hospital like right after.
Oh, jeez. You're like, I don't want to leave, but I've got
exactly.
I do remember you talking about that.
So yeah. Anyways, really well done. Super fun movie. And can't wait for more. Actually.
There you go.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, thank you, Matt.
That's it. It's my number 5.
Number 5 for me, a film called Isle of Dogs.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, this was it did get a wide. I think it got a wide theatrical release. I know it definitely got a limited run for a little while.
Yeah.
But proved to be well liked enough to go for a major theatrical release. It's a Wes Anderson film.
I almost said Wes Craven a minute ago.
Yeah. Oh, it's a flashback.
Wes Craven.
Wes Craven. Yeah. So it's a Wes Anderson film, and if you're not familiar with his style, he definitely has. He is very in line with what they call the auteur theory. He's an auteur of sorts. He has a very distinct style and presence with each of his films.
Coloring and symmetry and all that fun stuff.
Very, there's always there's a beat pattern with his scenes. There's like a lot of awkward pauses.
It's very quirky.
It's very dry humor at times, and then sometimes it's very outlandish and off the wall type stuff.
Yep.
And this film, and I like that. And this film was no exception to that. Yeah. And in a sense, it was he can do. The amazing thing about Wes Anderson is he can do a claymation, stop motion animation type film and elicit such strong reactions from you without actually having, and I think in a way, without actually having real people there. And I think in a way what he does is he uses that not to just because he's limited by script or budget or something, but he used that as a way to open up his stories and allow him to do even more creative stuff that he wouldn't be able to necessarily do if he was just doing a regular standard cinematic film with film camera or non-animated. And it tells a very inventive story. It's very fun and different. I love that Wes Anderson isn't trying to do the same thing as all the other people out there. He has the same style, but he's telling different stories and he's going in different ways. And this is it's not super strong, but it's a heartfelt film. And there's touching moments in it that you really take something from, as well as you feel like the stakes are really there. Like some stuff happens and early on in different places where it's like death and loss, and you're like, wow, this could go in a really dark direction potentially. You never know. So I really enjoyed it, and it's a fun one. The weird thing about it is I wouldn't necessarily say it's a kids movie. Yeah, it's kind of an adult film.
Even same thing with Fantastic Mr. Fox.
Yeah. But it kind of is at the same time. But there's 3 or 4 scenes I'd be like wary of showing kids. So.
No, I totally got you.
There you go. Number 5.
Okay, so number 4.
There you go.
Right. Okay. So let me say this too. I haven't seen every single movie in 2018. So if you're listening to this, you're like, what about this movie? I might not have seen it.
Same for me. Same for Joel. We did our best, but we had limited time. And budget.
This next one, let me just set this up by saying I'm a musician. I'm a songwriter, so I really appreciated this one. This is A Star Is Born. Mm-hmm. I really like this movie. The ending didn't fit my taste per se, but I thought that movie was really well done. I have so much respect for Bradley Cooper. Yeah. He basically turned his house into a studio. He learned how to play a guitar, sing, and piano, whatever it may be, and he became Jackson Maine for this story. And I have not all of it, but I have the songs I really like on the soundtrack. There's some really good music in here. Very much appreciated his character. Really well done. He directed it too.
Mm-hmm.
Man, he's a very talented guy.
Yeah.
And this movie, I just thought I thought it knocked it out of the park. Lady Gaga, I thought was really good. I thought was amazing. There was elements to where, because I actually saw this a long time after you saw it,
Mm-hmm.
and I kind of got some of the vibes of what you're saying, how you felt like, oh, she's just Lady Gaga. There were elements where I felt like that,
Yeah.
but I felt like it fit the story though too.
Yeah.
And I really, really did appreciate it. It's got some good smiling, maybe some brief laughing moments, very heartbreaking at times as well, and really enjoyed it. Star is Born. Sha-la-la-la-laws.
Maybe it's time to let the old turn into a musical episode suddenly. Yeah, and just to clarify, like my contention there with Lady Gaga was just the story that they gave her didn't really, because it's hard to take it serious when you
Allie.
Lady Gaga's like, I struggle with
Right.
people looking at me a certain way, and she's Lady Gaga. She's like one of the most successful singers in the world. Anyway,
Okay.
my number 7 here.
No, 4.
4. Yeah, sorry, going the wrong direction. Yeah, my number 4 here. A Star is Born.
Hey,
we tied it up again.
Amazing.
Matched it up again. Similar reasons. I think the biggest thing about this film was the acting of Bradley Cooper.
Yeah.
He was amazing.
He's the best.
I was watching him on screen and I'm like, that's Bradley Cooper? Like, it didn't even really he really came across as that character, as Jackson. And it was just like, it was telling such a good story with him.
Yeah.
And it was really compelling, as well as Sam Elliott. And the relationship dynamic. It wasn't really a lot of it, but every
I wanted
time
more of that. I wanted
really
so much
did.
more of that.
Yeah, it was frustrating to me because I'm
Especially-
like, I get it's about him and Lady Gaga, but I'm like, maybe just cut a little out of there and put a little more of that.
They have one last scene together towards the end of the movie that I wish would have been a longer element.
Because there's just it was just so compelling. I think between the two of them, and the music was great. I mean, there's a couple of songs that are just in my head, and I've listened to the soundtrack since then. Unlike some other films that have come out recently,
Shallow's totally gonna win best song. Shallow's
sure.
totally gonna win best original song.
Yeah, absolutely.
Totally.
And it just felt like a good story. And I kind of knew where it was going. I'd seen the couple of the iterations that have been in the past.
Yeah.
And it still hit me.
Yeah.
Still emotionally hit me.
That's awesome.
And I think the biggest detractor for me, like I said, was just kind of the Lady Gaga aspect. She was good. She just wasn't like, meh, she didn't knock it out of the park for me.
Yeah.
I think if she had knocked it out of the park, then maybe the film would have been, closer to the top one.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, number 4. So
that's awesome, man.
cool. Yeah, not 7, 4. Awesome. Let's move in then. Top 3.
All right, here we go.
Drum rolls.
This next one is a movie I haven't even talked about yet.
Okay.
This movie is Green Book.
Mm.
Really like this movie. Just a quick, because I haven't even officially reviewed this movie. It's basically Viggo Mortensen, Mahershala Ali, Linda Cardellini. Working class Italian American bouncer becomes driver of an African American classical pianist on a tour of venues throughout the 1960s in the American South, which is a dangerous place for African Americans in that time frame. And I think that this movie does a lot to address what we've seen a lot in cinema lately with racial tensions, a lot of the same stuff that they brought up in like Black Klansman, stuff like that. And I think it addresses it really well, but at the same time, both people, it's really hard for me to pick who the lead was. I believe it. I mean, it's marketed and it feels like Viggo Mortensen is, but Mahershala Ali is also very much in there as well.
Yeah, I thought he was the lead. Actually,
right. See, at the same time, I feel like they're both part of a whole, and their chemistry was by far the best. There were so many times Viggo Mortensen, if you think about it, from Lord of the Rings, is playing this dude who who's from New York and just has bad grammar, and Mahershala Ali is always like picking on him for it and like trying to help him out with stuff like that. It's got that classic a little bit of like, hey, each one helps each other a little bit. Yeah.
In different ways.
Yeah. But that's not what the focus is on, and it was really good. I feel like it's more of a Viggo Mortensen's character, his journey in kind of getting to know him. And he was so funny, like inadvertently funny. Like he'd just say stuff, and like for example, he he eats food, and he gets stuff all the time from people that he just eats too much food. He's like, hey, people always say, eat like it's your last meal because you never know when you get another one. Like he orders a pizza, and he just takes the whole pizza out of the box and just folds it in half, starts eating it like a taco, and just stuff like little things like that. It's just, I was chuckling and smiling. It's a great movie, and it's really, really well done. Really, really appreciated it. Green Book, recommend it, and acting all the way around is something else.
Very cool.
Really, really thought it was great.
I haven't had a chance to see it.
Yeah.
So I'll take your suggestion there, and at some point, I think it's getting a ton of Oscar buzz, and
it's really good. Really, really good.
So I will try and get a chance to check it out.
Do it.
Thank you for that, Matt.
Yep.
My number 3, film you already mentioned, much higher for me, I think, and I'll sort of explain reasons why. But it's a film called Upgrade.
Hey, I love Upgrade.
Yeah.
I said, if I could just give them all like number ones.
Yeah. I will say, like, for me, when I suggest films to people, when I'm like, oh, you should check this film out, I highly prize that and value that. I don't like free willy just tell people to like free nilly, willy, jilly, whatever you want to call it. I don't just like throw out my suggestions to people. I'm like, it has to be a film that I really pinpointedly think has really good elements. And this was like, of 2018, probably my top most suggested
it was
film
a standout
to people.
For sure.
It was so under, like, I mean, it just didn't, it came out of Blumhouse, and so I wasn't expecting a ton. They've done good with just putting together like simple films, but this took things to another level for me, whereas like where A24 is at in a way, with a deeper message and a deeper purpose. And the thing that I loved about this film was that.
Yeah.
When you get done with the film, you start putting pieces together and you're like, whoa, that tied into, whoa. Yeah. And it's like, I don't want to spoil it and I don't want to overhype it because it was, I think one of the reasons it was so impactful for me was because I wasn't expecting that.
Yeah.
I thought this was just a straightforward type Venom experience. And so when it goes in a different direction and all that stuff happens, you're like, what? It's just so crazy. Now, there might be elements of that I haven't really thought about and got into where that doesn't, it's not very realistic. Yeah. Because with anything, it's like a twist or change. There's always room for like, well, what about, and how about that type of stuff. But throughout the film, it tells such a compelling, interesting, crazy story as well that I was like comfortable with that. And
that's awesome.
It beat for beat. The cool thing about the film is that it raises in tension. Yeah. It's like one of those good episodes of like Breaking Bad or something where it starts here and it's already kind of tense. Yeah. And then it slowly gets tenser and tenser.
Winding it up.
Exactly.
Yep.
And then finally when there's a break at the end, you're just like, what? Wow. Yeah. And so I just really enjoyed it. And it's one of those movies that I would definitely sit down and, watch again if I want to just kind of be like, oh my gosh, craziness. It's got really good action, really good acting, very violent and gory at times. And I've always been as well a bit of a sucker for like a really good sci-fi type tale. Oh yeah. It almost felt like a better episode of Black Mirror. Yeah. Which I'm a huge fan of. And so can't say anything more praising with it. It's hard. It was hard for me to actually think of negatives in this film,
so
and I could. But
Upgrade was one of my highest ranked, rated. Yeah, definitely.
So there you go.
So cool.
Number 2.
Number 2 is Venom.
Wow.
Just kidding, guys.
I was like, wait a minute.
I was like, kidding.
Shut it down.
It's not Venom.
Okay, thank God.
Venom is not on this list. Okay. I'm
going to take my LaCroix and go home. Right.
Number 2. Avengers Infinity War.
Hey.
Yes.
Okay.
I just watched this movie again yesterday. And I still got all the chills in the places I was supposed to get chills at. I still was like laughing at all the funny parts. This movie, I feel like it really accomplished something that I feel like would be nearly impossible to accomplish. And that's tying together 10 years worth of Marvel movies. And first of all, let me just say this too. I love the MCU. I love it. I love it. So that's it. Preface that. But they tied together 10 years of everything, bringing everybody together, an absurd amount of characters, like 67 or 72 or something, like characters in one movie. The movie is long, but it didn't feel that way to me. Yeah. I think the Russo brothers, who obviously we know from Winter Soldier and Civil War, they have just smashed it. They've been on a streak and they were able to take what you would think is a huge running time of like 2.5 hours, really to like put as many characters into that 2.5 hours, they did as I think the best that anybody could have done. And I would have liked to see more, but I think they they brought it all to a head, but also brought us my favorite Marvel villain, Thanos. They brought like kind of a realism to him and his why he's trying to do things, but at the same time, he's maybe not quite all there. And then they set it up for what we're gonna get in just a few months in Avengers Endgame, April 27th or something like that.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh! And then Captain Marvel, obviously.
Yeah.
But before that, but the this, and it was just, I love the way that they ended it, and it was they ended it in a way which was contrary or contradictory to the way they ended every other Marvel movie.
Yeah.
And you guys should have seen it by now. I don't want to say it, I don't want to spoil it, but I think I love that the way they ended it, and I think people were in shock. I think it's a huge reason why this movie has the highest opening record of all time any given weekend. Or on the opening weekend, and it's hilarious. Visuals are stunning. Characters are great, well acted. Nobody phones it in. There's a lot of highlight moments. Like I said, chills. Like, hey, let me just say, when Thor shows up, you know what I'm saying? I was like, dang, like it's just a music crescendos.
Shows.
He shows up and just takes care of some business, you know. But yeah, awesome. Avengers: Infinity War. Bam.
Awesome. Number 2 for me, almost there. Mission Impossible Fallout.
There it is.
Yeah, the strange thing about these Mission Impossible films is how are they getting better?
Yeah.
Like we're on like 6 or 7 now. 6, yeah. I don't understand how they keep getting better, but it's like they're giving enough time, it feels like, between the films for them to really develop into something that you want to see.
So good.
They're not like the Fast and Furious films where they're just trying to be as ridiculous, over the top, crazy with their stunts as possible. Their stunts are over the top and crazy, but they feel grounded in a way. You know that things like this would probably never happen in real life,
right?
At least not in the
at
sequence that they do. Like maybe one thing would happen to a person like that in their
mission
life.
Force.
Yeah, but there's just something about this film. I think style wise, with the cinematography, it really feels good and feels grounded and perfect. I think this film had some of. Well, I will say for last year, it definitely had some of the best action shots of any film that came out.
The running stuff was crazy, right?
Yeah, the running stuff was crazy, and the last final little bit with the helicopters and the mountains, like it's so real, and it raises tensions, and it's interesting, and it feels simultaneously ridiculous but realistic, and it's just crazy. And like what you're talking about, where they kind of ended some plot lines and they kind of draw a conclusion there for some of the characters in a good way.
Yeah.
That felt fitting and right. There was just so many aspects to it that I just really ended up enjoying and was very much surprised.
That's awesome.
It left me like... It's actually left me fearful for the next film because it's kind of like Skyfall for me. I'm like, how are you going to reach that same level with the next one? I just I don't feel like they necessarily could. And Tom Cruise, as great of a job as he did in this film, he is getting up there.
Yeah, man.
You know, so it's like I thought that maybe they were like training a replacement for him, but it doesn't feel that way.
No, I think he's going to just keep cranking them out until he's unable to.
Right, and I think that was another thing that really felt good about this film is like it felt like they were trying to like set this up. It felt like what they were trying to do was like set this up for like Tom Cruise maybe moving out and moving on and bringing in another character, but this felt self-contained.
Yeah.
And I think that's really what the films do well is this film felt like everything that happens in it is important for that film. Mm-hmm. And there is stuff that I want to find out about maybe moving forward, but it's like this is this film.
It was good. So good.
So it was so good, and I'll explain to you why my next film is number 1. I really had a struggle between my 1 and my 2, and I'll explain why when I get to it. But first, Matt.
Yes, my number 1, and it's no secret if you know me.
It's Venom.
Venom. My number 1 movie, my favorite movie of this year was A Quiet Place. And I ranked this the highest probably movie that I've ever ranked out of whatever. This movie, it's not long. It's pretty brisk. It's like 88 minutes long. I think beyond it being brilliantly acted, I love the story. First of all, it's got that going for it too. It's post-apocalyptic, and that's like this is my guilty pleasure. Like I'll watch all post-apocalyptic movies, even if they're terrible, but this is an actually really good one. And I think it's brilliantly acted, directed. The concept behind it is incredibly strong. And for me, the biggest part is it got me so emotional. I was so teary-eyed during a lot of this movie and so tense. And so aware of the sound of like me eating popcorn in the theater because it was so quiet.
Yeah.
Everything about this was one of the best movie-going experiences I think I've had in a long time.
Yeah.
And I really, really love it. I love that that it was done by John Krasinski in a similar way that you might have seen like Jordan Peele do Get Out, which I'm excited for Us, by the way, his new horror movie coming out this year. But John Krasinski coming from that comedy background, hey, you're the funny guy from The Office, and you're doing something like this, I thought was really, really strong. I think he was great in the movie, but I think the standout was Emily Blunt was just incredible in this movie. Just so good. And the kid actors, so good. Millicent Simmons, I think is the girl's name, the oldest. And there was just elements of her, but also the second youngest kid, the son, that reminded me of my kids. So I was getting all emotional and like, because I was thinking about my kids, how would I live in this environment? It was something else. It was just a really great experience for me. I think it hit me pretty hard and really, really enjoyed it. And I guess they're doing a sequel, so hopefully they don't ruin it.
A Quieter Place.
Yeah.
I need to go back and watch it.
Yes.
I watched it, but I will say the viewing experience that I had for a number of different reasons I won't get into, but it was not a very good one.
Okay.
So I don't want to hold that
I wish you
against
could
the
have
movie.
seen it in a theater. Did you see it in the theater?
No.
Oh, yeah. So I wish you could have seen it in like a theater experience. I think that would have been
It probably would have been
awesome,
different.
yeah.
And because of a lot of those aspects, I ended up putting it more close to the middle of the pack.
Sure.
It probably would have been at least an honorable mention
Right.
if I had really, gone to the theater and seen it there.
Understandable.
So
It's not for everybody.
not for everybody.
Aliens.
Yeah. Well, and if you want to see like a kind of a different version of that, go watch Bird Box.
Yeah, kind of.
Kind of. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah. So
Top
number one
for me, which shouldn't be a surprise, Avengers Infinity War.
Yes.
Yeah. Again, I really struggle with my top two here.
Yeah.
They're in a way kind of similar.
Yeah.
They're ongoing series of films with, action based and, one big bad person trying to destroy the world in a sense.
Yep.
Although Thanos isn't really trying to destroy the world, he's trying to improve the world.
Right.
The real reason that Infinity War became my number one versus Mission Impossible was rewatchability. And it's not that Mission Impossible Fallout wasn't a good movie to rewatch, but if I give the choice, if somebody came to me and said, like, here's the two movies, I would hands down pick Infinity War.
Rewatchability is a huge factor for me.
Yeah.
Like, I love a lot of movies that are beautiful, but I can't watch them because of just the heaviness of the content sometimes.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think it's because there's just so much in Infinity War. Like you talked about, there's the humor.
Yeah.
There's the acting. There's the different characters with their own stories that we've been seeing for 10 years.
Yeah.
Thanos is such an amazingly compelling, villain in a sense, and is so horrible but relatable.
Yeah.
And it's like he's doing
complex. He's a complex villain.
Yeah, and he goes up and down, and just the connotations of the impact of family and the father-daughter vibe that was going there, and the cinematography in this one. It's like Marvel has always just been kind of like meh with the cinematography, but this was the first film that I can recognize for Marvel where I'm like, wow, there was some shots there that really gave me something and really left an impression on me. It was a really good story. I think the only thing in the character, the only thing that I really didn't kind of like was something that happens with Thor's character about 3/4 the way through the film, and there's kind of an additional character that's added, which it all just felt kind of cheesy. But even that, like, kind of is like when I just like kind of not think about it overly and just kind of embrace the goofiness and the silliness and the ridiculous nature of it, I can just kind of enjoy that for what it is. And
it will kill you.
It will kill you
if I die. That's what kill you means.
Well, and I will say this, like, I hate myself for putting this as my top film because like I didn't want to. I wanted to put something else as my top one, but there's just so much that goes into this. And my overall experience, I saw this movie 3 times in theaters, and I probably would have gone and seen it again. My overall experience was just the best.
Yeah,
with this one.
That's awesome. It was great.
Year.
It was great. The theater was like roaring when I was in it. It was awesome.
It was roaring. Yeah, there was a couple parts. I mean, the humor was at times, it was just like ridiculous, but it was hilarious.
So funny.
Bautista, I mean, he nailed it with some of his improv lines, and it was even better. Like it feels like it now that I went back and researched it, but like his lines were completely improvisational.
Yeah.
And they ended up being some of the funniest parts of the movie, and they feel improvisational. But when I first saw them, I was like, those are so quirky and strange and funny. So.
Yeah.
There you go. All right, Matt.
That's awesome, man.
Yes. So we're gonna go ahead and wrap up the podcast.
Yeah.
Let's
as we wrap up the podcast here, we released a video.
Yes.
Talking about a contest that we're doing. Mm-hmm. And this is because this is our 100th episode, you
what?
guys. Woo! 100th episode on the podcast. We love to talk about movies, and you can actually go to our Facebook page, and we'll put part of it up on Instagram. I'll work on that. But
might be a bit too long.
Right, exactly. It's only like a minute, but you can see it on our Real Review Facebook page, and it's a chance for someone here in Arizona, unless you're from another state and you want to fly out here, we're gonna buy you a ticket to the movies with us. You're going to go with both of us to the movies. We're going to buy you concessions. It's going to be fun. And afterwards, we will debate the movie. And it's going to be super awesome. All you have to do is go to our Facebook page, like the video, the contest video that we post, like the page, our Real Review page. In the video that we post, you're going to comment on it and share it. And what you comment on that video is hashtag RealReview100.
Yep. So it's 3 things. Perfect. Like the page, share the video, and comment Real Review 100.
Boom.
And you're entered in the contest to go see a movie with Matt and I.
True story.
I promise we'll shower.
Yeah.
We usually smell very nice and everything like that. But yes, celebration of the fact that we are in a way turning 100 with our 100 episodes. And to thank you, our listeners.
Yes, thank you so much.
People that watch. Yeah, we're super glad and excited to continue on and to celebrate with you making it to 100. So thank you.
Yes, thank you so much.
And so with that, some ways to get connected if you already are not. Again, as a reminder, realreviewmedia.com. You can check us out on there. You also have our Facebook, which is facebook.com/realreviewmedia, which is where you can get connected to us for the contest. We also have our Instagram and Twitter, which are both at realreviewmedia. Our YouTube, which is youtube.com/therealreview. And then finally, last but not least, we would love to hear your thoughts and perspectives on our top 10. Maybe send us your top 10 thoughts and opinions about what you thought were the best films of 2018. Did we leave one out? Maybe there's a good one we should have checked out.
Well, I would think in the future we might amend some of this too if there happens to be some ones that we haven't actually checked out.
I haven't seen Green Book, so
or like if Beale Street Could Talk, I hear that's really good, but I haven't seen it yet. So stuff like that.
There you go. So send us your suggestions, your thoughts. We would love to hear from you. realreviewmedia@gmail.com.
Yep.
Next week, we'll be coming to you with our low 10, our bottom worst 10. I never know what to call it.
I got to find 2 more movies.
You got to find 2 more movies. I can throw you a couple suggestions, Matt. If you want me to throw you a bone, I'll toss it your way. So, so stay tuned for that. And thanks for watching. It's been real.
It's been real.